Welcome to another episode of my show. My name is Stacey Marie, and thank you for tuning in today. My guests today are fashion designer Britt West and Pam Doverspike. They're both working on the Tsé Bii project. The Tsé Bii project is to help build homes and get resources like water and electricity for the elders in the Navajo tribe located in Monument Valley in Arizona. To donate to this cause, go to C, and that is TSEBBII.com, and I will post it on my social media. And welcome, ladies.
Hi, how are you, Stacy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having us on the show and sharing our heartfelt Tsé Bii project with the nations. That's just amazing.
Absolutely. I'm loving this project. And how did you get involved with this project, Britt?
Well, I had always wanted to shoot with the Navajo model. Because my product is mostly Navajo made in the jewelry line, I really felt that it would be amazing to shoot some of our classic pieces like our squash blossom necklaces and some of our stamp cuffs and things like this with a Navajo model. So I hired a beautiful Navajo named Sierra Yazi, and we went to the park. And through Effie Yazi, who is one of the elders that we are working with, she introduced me to Helen Little Goat, which is her aunt, and we did a photo shoot together with my Navajo model and with the elder. Through meeting Helen and seeing the state of her home and just the lack of off-grid resources that they have no power, they have no water. They're living in pressboard shacks with no floor. They have tar paper on the side of their buildings that it's dilapidated. Their roofs are caving in. They have no insulation. It's 108 degrees down there in the summer. I thought, gosh, we really need to do some fundraising for these people and help them to restore their homes. Um, this was just a thought that I had had, but who really springboarded this was Pam Doverspike and Effie Yazzie. They are.
Pam, thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us about the project.
Thank you for having us. This is something very close to my heart. This project is. I am. I've known Effie for 11 years. I've been doing horse tours with her for 10 years. And once I too found out about the situation that they have no refrigeration, they have no running water, they have no toilets within their home, I became very passionate about what we could do to improve, just make small improvements with off-grid living resources. And I know, by watching TV and stuff like that, all of those things are available, but not being implemented. And so with talking, Effie and I talking, she introduced me to Dr. Tommy Rock, who is the president. Tsé Bii is a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. We actually got started as a nonprofit group just a little over a year ago in February of 2003. And we, to my surprise, and I'm so thankful, just via social media, we have been able to get moving, raise funds, already implement some very needed resources. The thing that is a surprise to me is the most needed resources for the community is roofs. And so we have started with roofing. Effie currently has a framed bathroom through the donations, through GoFundMe, or people have sent donations directly. We are a volunteer group. Everybody working on this project, minus labor, is all volunteer. And we even have and are very thankful for the Navajo residents who are helping with their own homes and helping with the labor, of course, at no cost to us, which is we're very, very happy to see their involvement. We one of the biggest things is water in the homes and electrical infrastructure. We to see Effie's family members, like her brother, have to leave his home within the valley because he needed oxygen, was a big driving factor. Helen, as Britt talked about, her children do not like her being left alone in the valley because she has to leave her home in order to use an outhouse for her bathroom. And all of these things, I drive around in an RV and I have everything that they don't, not only in my home, but also when I travel. And the people that have jumped on board has been very, very supportive and needed. And we take any and all kinds of volunteer labor. We take anybody's ideas for fundraising. Britt coming on board and joining us. She's done some amazing photo shoots. She's done a lot of social media posts for us, which has generated funding to help pay for Helen's roof, Helen's floor. And we also are partnering hopefully with Dig Deep. We just submitted our grant for Dig Deep for water to help us with implementing water into these homes. And then we are also partnering with HistoriCorps. Our goal this summer, because it'll be too hot to work down there, would be to raise enough money to get as many roofs as we possibly can, because that is the seems to be the biggest necessity or request beyond water, which is interesting, tells you how important that is. So these roofing materials, we're hoping to fundraise enough money to get as much material as we can. They need to be metal roofs, so that way they're sustainable. And then our goal is in the...
Oh,
go ahead.
I want to quickly just mention that I can't even imagine being without a toilet, let alone not having a roof over my head and having to walk out to an outhouse just to go to the bathroom. I can't even imagine that. Briefly, how many volunteers do you have?
We have about 18 volunteers at the moment, between our board members and people who are trying to help us out with funding and people who are actually working on the homes.
And you have a goal to meet by the end of the summer. With that goal in mind, how many more volunteers do you need to accomplish your goals by the before summer begins?
It would be, we don't need quite as many volunteers beyond fundraising and helping us fundraise more money to buy the materials. It would be in the fall is when we need the materials, so that way when HistoriCorps comes in to do the build, we have everything that they need to get as many homes done as possible within that fall window, because Monument Valley Tribal Park is over 5,000 feet in elevation, so they do get snow and very cold temperatures.
And you mentioned before, and I'm sorry, but you mentioned before what you needed to get done before summer hits. Can you continue that and tell us?
Yes, we are just finishing up on Helen's roof. If we are able to get this grant for the water resources, we will be able to at least get running water into Effie's home and Helen's home. That is our goal before summer. So the turnaround on the grants are pretty quick. We're just keeping our fingers crossed.
Oh,
Can I
yes,
interject something here? So when we talk about running
absolutely.
water, we're talking about a place that does not have water supply, does not have a well. So these people are still having to come in with a cistern system. They have to drive 8 miles out, which takes over an hour to go 8 miles. The roads are that bad. And they have to put their water into containers and then bring it into their cistern. So what we're hoping to do is have holding tanks big enough that these folks can have water, that we can get solar so that they can have a pump so that they can pump water into their homes. I mean, historically, these folks have lived down there for 6 generations with no water other than the springs that were there. Now, some of the springs have arsenic. We have tapped into one spring so that the people that live further into the monuments can get back and fill their containers to then put them into a cistern that will be either a gravity feed or an electrical pump situation. But we're talking thousands of dollars in donations to get the cistern in, to get the plumbing in, to get solar power that will run a pump. I mean, when we talk about bringing water in, there's still, I mean, these folks are spending 3 to 5 hours a day just to get water for their stock and for themselves. And that is what we are working on alongside the roofs is let's get some water to these folks where they can have a sustainable amount of water. And I think, you know, the roof became the biggest um, the biggest complication for most of these folks because their roofs are old and dilapidated and it's just it's taking their houses down. So the roofing was the first thing we attacked. The second thing we want to attack is let's get some water to these folks.
Absolutely. Do they have flooding problems in the Monument Valley?
Absolutely. When it rains, when it monsoons, they shut the monuments down so that nobody can leave or come because of the flash floods. But it's a desert. I mean, it's a high desert. They don't. We're hoping that the roof systems can have water catchment systems so that we're containing water for the elders that we're working with.
What? How long do you expect, Britt, to install and get the water um, in there so they could have running water constantly?
Good question for Pam. That you know they've
Pam.
started the structure, but that's a good question for Pam.
Yeah, we have started the infrastructure, like Effie's bathroom is built. She has it. We are using composting toilets. We will be reclaiming water off of their roofs now that they have metal roofs. We have 2 different systems that we're going to use to reclaim water and make sure that we're not looking for potable water. We're looking for water that they can use to either water their livestock or even shower with. So Effie currently has everything that she needs except for the cistern and the plumbing inside. We have a contractor. It was very difficult to find contractors to come in and help us with this project, but we have one gentleman, Curtis, he's going to be helping us. And so we are hoping to get that project done. Sorry for being long-winded. Hoping to get water to at least these 2 homes to start off with. We have 11 homes to do. We are hoping to get that done before it gets too hot, and that would be in July or August.
And when the heat hits, will they have also air conditioning in their new homes?
We have, yeah, evaporated coolers would work best in that situation. It does not draw very much electricity. You only have to run a pump or a water pump and to run the fan. So yes, Effie already has one, and we have another one for Helen's house. I just have to get it down there.
And what kind of solar is it going to take? The solar capacity. I mean, wouldn't it be so neat if we got someone like Tesla involved that could come, that get someone like Tesla involved that could come down and donate solar and solar systems for these people so that they can actually run this because you're talking a huge capacity of solar to run a swamp cooler in
Yes,
these
I
homes,
was going to say that.
especially at 108 degrees with the limited amount of insulation these homes have. I mean, you have to understand these homes were built with with as small of funds as you can imagine building a home. They are literally OSB board with tar paper and chicken wire on the outside of them, which you can see from Stacy's post on social media. And I'll be posting more and more pictures of Helen's home and the progression of her home. But just to be able to install a solar refrigerator. Now you have to understand these folks have lived without refrigeration for 6 generations. So it we she has a pretty substantial panel out there, but it won't run it. So we're having to look at a solar system for Helen and for Effie, just to be able to have the capacity for a solar refrigerator, and that's expensive. I mean, you're talking $30,000-$40,000 for solar systems. I looked into it for my house in Arizona, and it was at least 30,000 just to be a supplemental system. So I'm hoping through your program that we can outreach to people like Tesla and get some sponsors that can come in, and let's get these guys some solar systems.
And not only solar systems, but also if in due time, after a few years or whatever, a solar system or, a panel breaks, that somebody would donate their time to come and fix it or replace it. Because
Right,
these are human beings. We have
right.
to take care of our own.
Right, exactly. And here's the other thing. With the volunteer program, finding an electrician and a plumber, we're in the middle of the reservation. We're in Monument Valley. It takes 30 minutes to go 8 miles to get somebody out there that wants to donate their time and come and work is it's insurmountable. So through your program, Stacy, I'm hoping that we can have an outreach and say, hey, if anybody wants to come out and donate their time, if they are a contractor, if they are a plumber, if they're an electrician, please reach out to us, because we really need folks to stand up and say, these people they need help, and we're here to help them. And I think that is, at the core of our existence. All of us have the desire to help other humans. And
Yes.
when you see the situation that they're in and the situation that they're living in now, we know how we live and the luxuries that we are allotted. I mean, every time you come off the reservation, you just take nothing for granted. When you go down there and you're able to help, the way that you feel when you leave. I mean, I hate leaving. I love being down there. I love helping the people. They are so generous. They are so kind, and they don't feel like they're living with little. They know that there's more out there, but they don't feel like they're living with little. When we leave there, if we make one change, if we make sure that Helen's roof is insulated and not leaking, and that she can be warm in the winter. Now, when I did an interview with her, I asked her what her favorite thing about this project was, and it wasn't having a toilet, it wasn't having a shower, it was to be warm. She's 90 years old. And as we all know, as we get older, it's harder to stay warm. But that's the heartbreaking thing, is that, she can't even be comfortable in her own home.
Oh, that's a shame. Where is the nearest town, and what is the town called? Do you know?
Of course, Ojeto is probably the closest town where there is HUD housing available. It's about 30 minutes from where these folks live now, just because of like I said, the road quality. Um, you when you stop through Monument Valley, you come into the park. There is a town before you get into the valley itself. And a lot of our elders have children or family members that may have some HUD homes that are in Ojeta. Kayenta is your biggest main town, and that's about an hour away.
Are you guys installing carpet or tile or wood flooring in these homes?
I think the main thing is just replacing what's there. And again, it's the OSB that they've had on the floor. If the floor is destroyed, then it's getting the floor supported and replacing the OSB board that has been ruined from the leaking roofs. Tile and carpet is not high on the priority list. I think what's high on the priority list is a composting toilet, a way for them to have sustainable water, solar systems, roofs repaired, and insulation. And then we'll move on to the comfort of the possibility of can we get a solar system big enough to run swamp coolers, or anything to help reduce the temperature in the homes. I mean, traditionally they've stayed in what are called shade huts, which are basically split log, uh, open sided shelters, with no better words, that they wet the ground on so they can sleep somewhere cool at night. So, they have definitely adapted to their situation. They've been there for 6 generations. But it would be really nice to be able to have their homes be comfortable as well.
And for Helen, because she's in her 90s, you're making it accessible for her to be able to walk and not have stairs,
She
maybe
doesn't
hold
now.
on to something in the shower or anything like
Yes,
that,
of course.
right?
Of course. Yeah, she'll have handicap access shower and bathroom. But I mean, right now her outhouse is at least a quarter of a mile from her home.
Oh
And
my gosh.
and she has family members that are living on property on her grazing lease. That's how these folks are able to stay in the monuments, is they have traditional grazing leases. They don't actually own their property. They have traditional grazing leases, and they typically have several different hogans where the family members have lived. So Helen has over 13 children. She has two of her daughters live on property, and then she has Jerry, who lives on property as well. So she does have people that live there. But when I talk to Jerry, he's like, I would much rather live in Kayenta, but Helen wants to stay here as well as Effie wants to stay. That's where they were raised. That's their home. And it'd be like us being told, hey, you can't live in your home anymore. You're too old. You
Wow.
have to go live in the home because you need assistance. I mean, they're very proud people. They're very strong. They're very resilient, but they want to stay in their homes.
And it would be really nice to see like a team of plumbers. Maybe they're from different companies and they come together and they're working on this project together, but they could switch out times, like maybe one's there for 2 or 3 days, the other, um, so the work can get done.
Yeah, that's our goal with this program, Stacy, is to reach out and say, go to the Tsé Tsebbii.com. Go to the Tsebbii.com website. It says donate. You can turn off the donate to GoFundMe. So all of the funds go to the Tsé Bii project. And again, I want to reiterate, this is an all volunteer program. There is no one sitting around receiving funds because it's an office fund. There's no officers that receive fund. All of the money that goes into that GoFundMe goes to materials. And that is a very unusual case with any of these nonprofits. There are officers on salary. That's not the case with this. This is just people that have come together that see the need for these elders to have sustainable houses and off-grid resources, and putting together this program. Now, this program is in its infancy. It was just started this fall, and to see the amount of progress when you go down there, Pam and Effie have just done an amazing job, along with Tommy Rock, to bring this project to fruition. I mean, we've got 2 roofs almost complete. Effie's bathroom is framed in. We are waiting on plumbers and electricians, and we have to make sure that things are done correctly. There really isn't a lot of um, regulation, but we want to make sure that their homes are safe once the electric and the solar is installed. So, I mean, that if you want to go and donate, or if you know people that could be in the Arizona area that would love to visit Monument Valley and come out and help, we'll make sure that you have Pam's contact number, and you can get a hold of us through the Tsebbii.com.
The other thing I want to mention, it would be great to see the manufacturing companies that make the products, right? To build the houses, that they would donate to this cause,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because
Like, absolutely.
it's so much easier. I feel that if they did that, it makes, all they have to do is contact you guys and then make arrangements of delivering their products.
Absolutely. We would love that. And then we would love to promote, the sponsors on our site. And, as this program grows, be able to have events, and have sponsors at these events. We're planning one in the fall in Texas. I'll let you know more about that as that comes to fruition. I have great friends that have a beautiful ranch in Texas, and we want to do a fundraiser there. I think doing fundraisers in Arizona makes a lot of sense because it's close to the Arizonans' hearts. The Navajo people, traditionally always
Yes.
been there, and what we can do locally to, bring awareness to the situation. And then what I'd really like to see is I'd like to see this program grow as an outreach program for elders who are not living in sustainable homes. There are so many elders across the reservation whose kids have had to leave to make a living, that are living in third world conditions. And whatever we can do to help them would be insurmountable.
Absolutely. Um, you know what, ladies? Thank you for coming on. I would like to spread this even further, um, beyond my show and help in the project. However, I could help out, Britt and Pam. I think you ladies are just fantastic, because we need more people like you to help the human race, because we live in a world where we think of me often ourselves, right?
Agreed,
And
100%.
there are so many people out there within our country that
Yes, ma'am.
need people like you to come forward and help.
Well, and here's the thing is we all feel so helpless as to the situation our
Yes.
world is in. And this is something that you can do. Because I always ask people when they're complaining about politics, whatever, I'm like, hey guys, what can you do? Get involved locally. Do something to help other people. Your life is only your story. All of the material assets that you have when you die, that means nothing. Your story is all you have. So if
Yes.
we can do one thing to help somebody else, that's one thing that we can do. So if you're feeling helpless in your life, go out and help somebody else. It'll make a world of difference.
Absolutely. It changes you from the inside
Agreed.
because you're thinking about somebody else before yourself. And that
Agreed.
is what we were created to do, anyways.
100%. 150%.
And you
Yeah,
know what?
that's
I'll keep in contact with you and Pam. Britt, I mean, thank you so much for bringing to me this project
Absolutely.
and
Thank you.
giving me the opportunity to interview you both. And I do want to tell my audience, donate today, whether you are a plumber or in construction, whatever, or you own a manufacturing, part of a manufacturing company that makes the products to be able to build these homes, or be able to help with bring in the water sources and everything, um, and donate your time. Go to CB, and that is TSEBII.com. And I'll have you ladies back soon.
I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to get you on ground so that you can actually see this project for itself. And we'll be including a lot of images to you so that you can show the progress of the project. And the before and after pictures I think are really, I mean, it's just heartbreaking to see how these folks have been living for hundreds of years. So I can't wait to share those with you and actually get you on the grounds.
I can't wait to come out this fall. Well, thank you, ladies. And thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.
you
Absolutely.
too.
Thank you,
Thank you
Stacey.
so much. Thank you for
You're
this
welcome.
opportunity.
Thank you.